Hello everyone, welcome to Lukmaan IAS. Today we are going to have the Hindu newspaper analysis dated 11th of August 2023. So in today's newspaper analysis we are going to cover those articles that were there in the editorial section of the newspaper, and also we are going to cover all those other areas that are important for the prelims and mains exam of UPSC. So let us see those topics that we are going to discuss in today's newspaper discussion. So these are the list of articles that we are going to take for discussion today, and these are the relevance of those articles with the syllabus. Okay, so in all we are going to cover about 12 articles, right? 12 articles we are going to cover in today's discussion. So this is the first topic. This topic is about India's foreign policy with Myanmar. So this topic is important under international relations. It is important for international relations. So it's important for GS paper 2 of the mains exam. Alright. So it says India's Myanmar quandary, its paradoxical policy. Okay. So when we talk about this keyword quandary, what do we mean by this keyword? It means dilemma. Okay. So it means dilemma. And what is the meaning of paradoxical policy? Paradoxical means something which is contradictory. Okay, paradoxical means something which is contradictory. So if we reread the heading, it says India's Myanmar dilemma, its contradictory policy. Okay, so we are talking about India's policy with reference to Myanmar and why our policy is contradictory, right? So we are going to discuss about it. So this topic, as I discussed, is important for international relations. Okay, so let's start the discussion on this topic. Okay, it says India's Myanmar quandary. India's Myanmar quandary and its paradoxical policy. Its paradoxical policy. So we are going to understand this topic, and before we start the discussion we need to understand what is the context of this topic. Okay, so the context is recently the Myanmar government, right? Myanmar government, which is led by the military of Myanmar. Okay, so their government is led by military of government. What they have done, they have taken two steps, right? One of the steps that they have taken is related to extension of emergency. Okay, related to extension of emergency in Myanmar. So they have extended the emergency period for 6 months. Okay, so it has been extended for 6 months again. So they have done this extension for the 4th time now. Okay, for the 4th time. And according to the constitution of Myanmar, right, according to the constitution that was drafted in the year of 2008, according to that constitution, it is illegal. Okay, it is unconstitutional, illegal or unconstitutional in Myanmar. Second thing is, okay, they have decided to release, right, a political leader, Daw Aung San Suu Kyi. So there is a political leader in Myanmar. Her name is Daw Aung San Suu Kyi. Okay. So this political leader, this political leader, she is a lady. So she was earlier running a democratically elected government. Okay, she was earlier running a democratically elected government in Myanmar. Earlier she was doing it. So later on what has happened, in 2021, I guess, long back, so Myanmar has seen a military coup. Military coup means military people have detained the political authority. They have detained the civilian government high officials, including Daw Aung San Suu Kyi. Okay, so they have detained this lady, and after then they have established a military rule in Myanmar. So they have toppled the civilian government there, and after then they have imposed, let's say they have imposed emergency, right, in Myanmar. And since then they have been doing, let's say, like, atrocities against many citizens in Myanmar who do not, let's say, who do not approve of the military leadership in Myanmar. Okay, so this thing has been happening in Myanmar for long, and the context, present context, is because of these two things. One thing is extension of, right, extension of emergency provision for 6 months, right, this is happening for the 4th time. Second thing is, like, release of this particular person. Release means she was not released from the prison. So earlier she was put in prison, but now she has been moved to house arrest. Okay, she has been moved to house arrest in Myanmar. So this thing, right, this particular move has perplexed many people, right? It has perplexed many people in the state of Myanmar, right? In Myanmar, perplexed means it has baffled, right? It has baffled people. Okay, it has baffled people, like what is happening in Myanmar. Okay, so this is the present context. Now if I talk about, like, what is the role of India, so if I talk about, let's discuss about election, right? Let's discuss about emergency and elections in Myanmar. Okay, let's discuss about emergency and elections in Myanmar. So since the military coup, right, so earlier what has happened, a military coup was conducted. Okay, it is written as COUP, but, like, P is silent, so that's why we read it as coup. Military coup means, like, military is taking over the authority of civilian government, right, through forceful means, right, which is, let's say, like, a strategy that people employ. So recently there was another country, Niger, right? Niger is in news for the same purpose, right? In Niger also the military has, let's say, like, detained the political leadership over there, and lot of things are happening in Niger. Niger is one of the North African country, and this Myanmar is a neighborhood of India, right? To the right side of India, if I draw the map of India, let's consider, I'm just drawing the map of northeastern portion of India. Okay, let's draw the map of northeastern portion of India, right? So Myanmar is located somewhere here. Okay, Myanmar is located to the right of India, let's say, like, here. That's somewhere, like, this is Myanmar. Okay, this is Myanmar. So just, so that you can understand about it. And, like, we will also discuss how many Indian states share a border, right? Share a border with Myanmar. So let's discuss about that also, right? So we have, let's say, on the top we have Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, here we have Arunachal Pradesh, or in short I'll be writing AP, Arunachal Pradesh, right? Don't consider it to be Andhra Pradesh, this is Arunachal Pradesh. Then after Arunachal Pradesh we have Nagaland here. Okay, here, like, I'll be drawing Nagaland. Then we have, here, somewhere here we have Manipur. And this is where, like, we have Mizoram. So there are 4 northeastern states that share border with Myanmar, right? It share borders with Myanmar. Now let's discuss about this thing, emergency and elections in Myanmar. Okay, so what is the thing related to emergency? So emergency was imposed in Myanmar for the 4th consecutive time. Okay, and emergency is something which is, let's say, like, which is imposed when there is no law and order in the country, right? When the law and order is out of control, that's when, like, they impose emergency. Okay, so emergency has been imposed for the 4th time. Okay, for the 4th time, and they have imposed it for 6 months again, and which is unconstitutional as per the 2008 constitution that was established in Myanmar. Apart from this, if I talk about elections, right, only the present government, right, the present government that they have established after conducting a military coup there in Myanmar. So present government controls only 30 to 40% of geographical area, right? They control only 30 to 40% of geographical area in Myanmar. Rest 60 to 70%, right, of the country is out of control, of the military leadership in Myanmar. So that's why the Myanmari government, right, they have been doing, like, you know, there have been a recent report also on this thing, right? A report was published recently by a very credible organization. That report has said that, like, you know, people in Myanmar, they are suffering 2.5 times, right, 2.5 times more violence, 2.5 times more violence than Afghanistan, okay, than the people in Afghanistan. So now we can understand, like, what is the situation, what is the ground reality in Myanmar. It means the human right violations are happening at a very large scale in Myanmar. And also, let's say, like, you know, the Myanmari government, right, Myanmari government or Myanmar's military, right, Myanmar's military is doing like about 30 air strikes, right, 30 air strikes in a month on an average, right? They are doing 30 air strikes in a month. Air strikes on whom? Air strikes on their civilian people, right? Air strikes in their own territory. The military is doing this thing. Why? They want to just, you know, take control of the entire area. So this is what is happening. Means there is complete lawlessness in the state of Myanmar, right? In Myanmar, there is complete lawlessness, okay? So this is the thing. And also, in this situation, if Myanmari government wants to conduct an election, right? If Myanmari government wants to conduct an election now, so in that election, they only control, let's say, 30 to 40% of the geographical area, right? So which is, let's say, which is 1/3 of the country, okay, which is 1/3 of the country. So if they are conducting election over here, so that election will be seen by the world at large as something, right? If they come up with some, let's say, like, you know, data or some you know, results of that election, so people across the world are going to consider that this election is fraud, this election is something that does not represent the will of people of Myanmar, okay? So this is the thing, that is happening in Myanmar. So why the military people, right, why the military people have released this leader Aung San Suu Kyi? Because they want to save their face in front of the international community. Like, there are many countries across the world that have already criticized the move of the Myanmari military, right, when they did coup. And even India is also in favor of having a democratically elected, right, government in Myanmar. So, like, we talk about that, like, you know, Myanmar should be peaceful and democratically elected government should rule over the country. However, the military has more power in Myanmar because, like, they have taken control of the democratically elected government also. So that's the thing. However, like, in this article itself, they have mentioned that, like, why India's policy, right? Why India's policy towards Myanmar, is contradictory, okay? Policy towards Myanmar is contradictory. So we are going to discuss about it. So we need to understand this factor because, like, in India and its neighborhood relation is a very important part. Like, you know, as part of the syllabus in GS paper 2, it's important for international relations. So we are going to discuss why India's policy towards Myanmar is contradictory. So, like, in our foreign policy thing, we say, like, you know, India supports, right? What India does, we say India supports a democratic government in Myanmar. India supports a democratic government in Myanmar, okay, or democratically elected government in Myanmar. However, in practice, what India is doing, India has started supplying more military equipment, okay. India has started supplying more military equipment, right, more military equipment in Myanmar. And these equipments are being supplied, okay, these equipments are being supplied to the military of Myanmar. And military, what they are doing, they are using these weapons against their civilians, okay. So that's why the author says that India's foreign policy is in contradictory stage to because this is the, let's say, rhetoric, official, let's say, position that like we support a democratically elected government in Myanmar. However, in actual practice, if you talk about our military thing, our security related thing, so we are supplying military weapons, we are supplying weapons to the military of Myanmar. So this is what the author says. So author finally says that India's official rhetoric on commitment to democracy in Myanmar is in contrast with its policy framed through the lens of its security concerns in Northeast India and relations with China, okay. So along with this, the author gives some other example related to let's say related to this transportation project, which is rail project in Myanmar. So I hope you might have understood this article. So with this, like, we will move to the next topic, and before that, like, we have some questions for you. This is a question for practice for the mains exam. It says Myanmar holds a significant place in the foreign policy of India. Definitely we have an Act-East policy, right? So in through that policy we want to support, right, our eastern countries, right, including Northeast India. Northeast India is part of India, but like, you know, the eastern countries of India, like, we want to support them. So it says Myanmar holds a significant place in the foreign policy of India. In the light of this, discuss the bilateral relations between India and Myanmar. So you need to write this answer in about 150 words and you need to share this answer with us. We will evaluate and share the evaluated copy with you. Then this is a question for the prelims exam. So we are going to solve this question. It says consider the following states. So they have given 4 states: Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur. 4th option is Tripura. So which of the above states share a land border with Myanmar? So like, you know, I have drawn a map also for you. So Arunachal Pradesh is there, Nagaland is there, Manipur is there, then Mizoram is a state. It's not Tripura, okay. So Tripura does not share a border with Myanmar. So 1, 2 and 3 should be in answer, 1, 2 and 3 only. So option would be, option D is the right answer in our case, okay. Option D is the right answer. So 4 northeastern states: Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur and Mizoram. So we have included a map also for you. You can go through it in your free time. So with this, like, we'll take another topic quickly. So this topic is again very important because this is something that is happening in India, right? And we need to be aware, right? No matter what is our ideological stand, right? We need to understand what is happening at the ground level, right? So it says demolitions as a state-sanctioned collective punishment, okay? State-sanctioned collective punishment. So this topic is important under GS paper 1 and also GS paper 3, right? GS paper 3 means like internal security related thing, okay? It's part of GS paper 2 also. So let's discuss about this. It says, so we are going to understand about this thing, okay? So let's discuss in detail about this topic. Name of the topic is demolitions as state-sanctioned. Collective punishment. Now, let's discuss about this. So this topic has been written in the context of the violence that happened in Nu. Nu is located in the Mewat region, okay, it is located in Mewat region, and Nu is a district in Haryana, okay. What is this? It is a district in Haryana. And Nu has a majority of, let's say like, majority of Muslim people, right? Majority of Muslims. So recently what has happened, we all know that like, Vishwa Hindu Parishad, so they have conducted a Jal Abhishek Yatra. And inside the Jal Abhishek Yatra, these people, right, who were in the possession, so they fragmented into different groups, right? They have fragmented into different groups, and that led to violence over there, okay? That led to violence and stone pelting. So soon after that, what the state government has done, what the Haryana state government is doing, they have started demolishing, okay? They have started demolishing the houses of people, okay? They have started demolishing the houses. Why they are demolishing the houses? Their official position is they are demolishing the illegal structures, okay. They are demolishing the illegal structures, those structures like, that are not officially sanctioned, and they are demolishing these illegal structures by taking the name of, let's say, by using the municipal laws, okay, by using what? Municipal laws. Municipal laws. But is this action justified? Is this action of the state government justified? So we need to look that thing from various perspectives, okay. So justification of, let's say, demolition, okay, demolition that are happening. So we are going to discuss about this thing. We are going to understand why these demolitions are not justified. First of all, these demolitions promote, right? These demolitions promote one thing which is known as, let's say, bulldozer justice, okay? It promotes bulldozer justice. Bulldozer justice means instant justice, right? Instant justice using bulldozers. Like, they are demolishing the houses of those people who are considered to be culprits. But are they following the due process of law? So we have rule of law in India. And if we go by rule of law in India, right? If we go by rule of law says the authority to take any action, right? The authority lies with the courts, because like there should be a fair trial, okay, there should be a fair trial, there should be investigation, right, there should be investigation, and after then the courts are going to identify who is guilty, right, court is going to identify who is guilty, and then court is going to give punishment, right, to people who are guilty. Court is going to give punishment. However, what bulldozer justice is doing, they are themselves identifying who is criminal, they are identifying who are rioters, and they are, let's say, like doing bulldozer justice. So this showcases two things. One is like, they are not following, the state government is not following the rule of law. They are not following the court orders. Court has already ordered that, like, if you are using municipal laws, right, to, let's say, displace people or bulldoze upon the houses of people, first of all, see, like, those people whom you are displacing, see, like, whether these people are eligible for, let's say, government homes, they are eligible for government, let's say, like, provided homes. If they are eligible, first you make arrangements for them so that, like, they can move to the new house. Only after then you go for demolitions, right? But the thing is, like, the state government is not doing any of it. And the law also requires that they should give prior intimation, prior notice to people, right? Prior notice means the notice should be of, let's say, 15 days, a month, a year, and only after then they can, let's say, like, take such actions. But like what they are doing, they are going for instant justice, like, so they are mixing up the thing. I mean, like, they are acting on behalf of this thing, municipal laws, but actually they are punishing those people like who they think like were part of the rioting activity. How do we come to know about it? It is from the timing of the thing. I mean, like the violence in Nu has just happened, and within few days, right, within few days, the state authorities have started bulldozing the houses. They started, let's say, like bringing down the structures that are made. And whom they are punishing? They are punishing a special, let's say, like a specific community. Means like they are punishing the Muslims only. Okay, they are punishing the Muslims only. So this also raises a question. Okay, this also raises a question. So in this article, the author has talked about this bulldozer justice. Okay, the bulldozer justice right, that the state has resorted to, right. This is not the first time that has happened in India. It has not happened only in Nu. It has also happened in, let's say, like Nu in Haryana, right. It has happened in Nagaon in the state of Assam. It has happened, right, in Jahangirpuri, right, in Delhi. And similarly, like it has happened in many other places in India. And everywhere they follow the same template. Wherever there is government of there is, let's say, like what we say, there is like government of BJP, so they are following this particular thing. So this is what the author says, like this is grossly unconstitutional, this is unlawful. And also author says that recently Punjab and Haryana High Court has talked about, like Punjab and Haryana High Court has mentioned that, like a kind of ethnic cleansing is happening in India. Okay, ethnic cleansing is happening in India, and this particular terminology has never been used, let's say, like in lighter words. It has been used only when there are grave concerns associated, because this terminology ethnic cleansing, I mean, like it's strictly prohibited in international law. There is international criminal code that talks about, let's say, like ethnic violence, genocide, etc. So these things are strictly prohibited in international law, and even the heads of states may be punished under it, right. So what you need to do, you need to go through this article to understand about rule of law. You will also understand about, like this amounts, like the bulldozer justice, it amounts to like it is of same nature as of extrajudicial killing, right. And also when they are let's say bulldozing the houses of people, right, when they are bulldozing the houses of the culprits, they are not only displacing the culprits, they are also, let's say, punishing their family members, right. Their family members might not be involved in any kind of writing activities. So this is not done. Okay, the author says like this is totally unconstitutional, and like there should be proper steps. So the author mentions that abandoning the rule of law for bulldozer justice is the first step towards an authoritarian society where ensuring a person's safety, life and liberty will be at the whims and fancies of the state officials. Okay, so with this, like we will move to the next topic now. This topic is again very important, right. This topic has been in news for quite some time. So it says, should there be a blanket ban on smartphones in schools, right. So recently the UNESCO stands for United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. Okay, so UNESCO has recommended, right, a universal ban on usage of smartphones in schools. And related to this, the Delhi government has come up with, right, Directorate of Education, private school branch in the Delhi government. So they have come up with some kind of, let's say, advisory restrictions on the use of mobile phones in schools premises under Rule 43 of the DSER. So means like they are consulting with all the stakeholders, be it parents, be it school officials, teachers and also the students. They are consulting whether a blanket ban of smartphones in school is needed or not needed. So like what can be the let's say positive aspects of it, what can be the negative aspects. However, the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization has already taken a view on this a month ago, and they have, let's say, like they have recommended that there should be a universal ban of smartphones in schools, because they have identified that smartphones distract the students, right. even if a smartphone is kept very near to the student, right, so it has a tendency of distracting the student and it hampers the learning progress of the students. So like, is India the first country to think about it? No. There are many countries across the world that have banned the usage of smartphones, and at the same time there are many countries across the world where smartphones are allowed in schools. If I talk about United Kingdom, they allow children to bring, let's say, mobile phones in schools when they are at the age of 4 or 5 years. However, they ask the students to keep it inside the locker. So these mobile phones are taken by the school officials during school hours. And there are other countries like Finland, right? So what they do, like they have kept the age to be 12 years. So above 12 years, students can bring mobile phones inside the school and they can keep it in their desk also while classroom is happening. So in many countries, it is allowed to bring mobile phones, right? So there are some age limitation, age restrictions. In India, like if I talk about National Education Policy 2020 recommends the use of, let's say, digital devices for enhancing the learning capacities of the students. However, digital devices are of different types. Let's say, like, this smart board, it can be used in schools to help the teachers so that they can teach better to the students. However, this if we provide mobile phones to each student, so they are not going to focus on what is being taught in the classroom. They will be distracted every time, right? So that's why there should be some calculated, let's say, or properly consulted steps that the government of India should take. And also we can come up with some kind of law or regulation that regulates that, like, below this year a student will not be allowed to take mobile phone in classes, right? So these are the things. So in this article, the authors have discussed about, like, this particular thing, should there be a blanket ban on smartphones in schools? So as of now, the opinions are divided. Some people are saying that, like, we should ban it completely. Some people say, like, we should allow it in schools, but like there should be some age restrictions. There should be some criteria. There should be some eligibility, like that. Okay. So with this, like, we came to another topic. This topic is also very, very important. It says China's deflation, a cause for concern. Okay. So we are going to understand about this topic, China's deflation, a cause for concern. So what is this? Basically, like, Chinese economy is growing. However, there is a trend of deflation in China. What do we mean by deflation? Deflation means when the prices of goods and services in the economy is going down. Okay, so prices of goods is going down in the economy, that is known as deflation. Okay, it is opposite of inflation. Inflation means when the prices of goods and services are going up, right? Deflation is opposite to it. So recently it has been seen that, like, Chinese Chinese economy has seen deflation in the recent time. However, Chinese economy is growing. So there can be such global trends, and this trend has been seen in the United States of America also. There are other countries also where this thing has been seen. So what is deflation? Deflation is a term that is used these days to refer to a general fall in the prices of goods and services in an economy. The definition of deflation, however, has not remained constant. Means this definition keeps on changing. Earlier, deflation was associated with the supply of money. When the supply of money in an economy was low, so that was known as deflation. And when supply of money was high, it was known as inflation. But now it has assumed a different term altogether. So in this article, they have mentioned about that, like, the Chinese, like People's Bank of China, what they have done, that they have mentioned that China is experiencing a deflationary trend as of now. So China's experience of deflation contradicts with global trend, as its central bank has maintained low interest rates to boost demand. Okay, so it's central bank, Chinese, this is known as People's Bank of China. So they have kept low interest rate in China so that, right, people can borrow more, so that more economic activity happens. People start, let's say, purchasing goods and services more, so that will bring back the activity in the economy. So this is the thing. So the property sector, a significant contributor to China's GDP, has been undergoing turmoil even before the pandemic. So this is the thing. So this is related to Chinese economy. Why it was important for us to understand? Because China is a neighbor of India, and like whatever is happening in our neighborhood, we should be knowing about it, right? So that's the thing. So there is a question for you related to this topic. It says the situation when inflation falls below 0%, a negative inflation is termed as, okay, a negative inflation is known as deflation, okay. So correct answer is option B, right, option B. However, we need to understand disinflation, we need to understand about stagflation, we need to understand about reflation, okay. So we know inflation, okay, we all know what is inflation. Inflation means, okay, we know what is inflation. Inflation means when the prices of goods and services, go high, that is inflation, okay, when it increases. But disinflation means, let's say here prices of goods and services has increased by 10%, right? Disinflation means the prices are going up, right? Prices are going up, but at a lower rate. So earlier, let's say it was 10%, now it has come to 6%. That is known as disinflation, okay. Disinflation is also part of inflation, but it is, let's say, like, reducing inflation, okay, reducing inflation. Then deflation is opposite, when the, let's say, like, prices of goods and services go down, okay, go down. Stagflation means a kind of, let's say, stagnation in the economy. Prices of goods and services go up, but like it is also associated with unemployment. So people do not have employment, they are not earning, prices of goods and services are going up. So that's stagflation, okay. Then similarly there is a term reflation. So what we have done is, like, we have given solution to this question. So explanation is given, and also we have explained all these terms for you: deflation, stagflation, disinflation and reflation, okay. So their definitions have been given. In your free time you can go through it to learn about these topics, because this is an important topic from economy perspective, economy point of view. Now let's understand about this topic. It says, will the federal fund hike impact developing countries' debt, okay. So now this topic is with reference to the United States of America's economy, okay. It's related to economy of United States of America. So what they have done, so in the United States of America there is Federal Bank, okay, so Federal Reserve of USA. Like in India we have Reserve Bank of India, which, let's say, regulates the entire banking sector in India. Similarly in USA they have, let's say, Federal Reserve or Federal Bank of USA. And as part of Federal Reserve, like, they do have different committees, right, of it. One of the committees, Federal Open Market Committee, okay, Federal Open Market Committee. So that Federal Open Market Committee has recently decided the rate, right, they have decided the federal funds rate, okay. Federal funds rate means the rate at which, let's say, like, federal bank is going to, let's say, lend money to the banks, the rate at which banks can borrow from the federal bank, or like, banks can lend to the federal bank, like that. So that's the thing. So what they have done, they have increased the rate, they have increased the interest rate. So they have kept the interest rate between 5.25% to 5.5%. They have increased. Why they have increased? So that, right, so like basically what is happening in USA. In USA also, like, there is a trend, right, there is a trend in USA where the economy of USA is growing. However, there is a trend that, like, people are not earning more, okay, people are not earning more. This is because of multiple factors. However, they have just increased this particular thing because during pandemic time they have kept, brought the interest rate to so low that, like, it was made 0.25%, 0.1%. Now within a short period of time they have increased the interest rate to 5.5 to 5.5%. So that's why this article came, that like what impact it is going to have inside the US economy and what impact it is going to have to the outer world. So in this article they have mentioned that like whatever decision was taken by US Federal Reserve in this behalf, so that decision is going to impact the economy of US. But economy of US is not an isolated economy. it's going to affect other countries in the world also. And if I talk about the Great Wall of China, we know the Great Wall of China. So the author is saying that even Great Wall of China is not going to, let's say, stop the economic decision that the USA has taken, like, impacting China. So it's going to impact China also, okay. So that's the thing. So they have compared it with China because US and China, they are considered to be economic rivals to one another, and they are considered to be rivals, right, in many sectors like that, okay. So the Federal Open Market Committee recently increased the targeted federal funds rate to this thing, 5.25 to 5.5%, reaching a 21-year high. So they have, let's say, like, brought it to 21-year high. And the rate hike aims to reduce inflation, right? So they want to reduce inflation to 2%. Despite the increase, unemployment numbers have been positive in the US. So unemployment is going high, but, like, they want to reduce the inflation in USA, and for that purpose what they have done is they have increased the this federal funds rate, okay. The federal funds rate is the rate at which banks lend and borrow excess reserves in the overnight market in USA. So that's the thing. So this topic is again from the economic point of view, and it's important for you to understand these concepts because many a times questions come, right, from these areas. So again we have another topic. It says the Jammu and Kashmir surrendered its sovereignty to India absolutely and completely. So as all of us know that a hearing is happening in the Supreme Court of India related to abrogation of Article 370 from the Constitution of India. So Article 370 is related to the state of Jammu and Kashmir. So Article 370 had special provisions for the state of Jammu and Kashmir. So, like, the state of Jammu and Kashmir had its own constitution, and they also had, let's say, some provision, Article 35A in the, let's say, Jammu and Kashmir constitution. So in 2019 the government of India has abrogated Article 370. They have changed the statehood of Jammu and Kashmir and they made two union territories, Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. But after that, right, during that time most of the political leaders in the state of Jammu and Kashmir have been, let's say, arrested, and later on they have been moved from the prison to house arrest, and still those people are in house arrest. So they have, filed cases in the Supreme Court of India, and a hearing is happening in this regard. So from the part of the petitioner, Mr. Kapil Sibal is representing them, and, like, the other councils are representing the central government, and it is being heard by a constitutional bench of the Supreme Court of India. Constitutional bench comprises of 5 judges of the Supreme Court of India, and this constitutional bench is being headed by the Chief Justice of India. And the Chief Justice of India has recently observed, he has said that the Jammu and Kashmir has surrendered its sovereignty to India absolutely and completely, right, absolutely and completely, when they decided to, let's say, like, come under India. I mean, like, so they are referring to the the movement of accession, okay, instrument of accession, like that. So we are not going to go deep into it because, like, this is a daily affair, like, hearing is happening, and I have also been taking this discussion, right, from last many days. Now again, this is another topic, it's related to international relations. It is part of IR, and here this is in context of Sri Lanka, okay, this is in context of Sri Lanka. So it says India, Japan is studying ways to restart trilateral cooperation with Sri Lanka. As we all know that Sri Lankan economy has recently gone into a very worse phase, and Sri Lankan economy was in turmoil. People have revolted against the, let's say, established government in Sri Lanka. It has led to, let's say, changing the leadership in Sri Lanka. And Sri Lanka has also, sought support from the International Monetary Fund. So International Monetary Fund is looking into this affair, and meanwhile the government of India and the government of Japan, they have come together to support Sri Lanka in times of distress, right? So they are going through a phase of economic distress in Sri Lanka, okay? So like government of India and, let's say, like India and Japan, they together started a project in Sri Lanka, that is known as East Container Terminal. Okay, it is known as East Container Terminal. So they started a project over there, but that project was, let's say, like, you know, halted by the government of Sri Lanka, during the previous government's regime. Okay, so and later on, what has happened? This East Container Terminal was being worked upon by India and Japan together. Okay, so this East Container Terminal was located in Sri Lanka. However, after the halt of the project, some part of the project was in the Western Container Terminal and some other terminal, right? The Indian, one of the private player of India, Adani, okay. So Adani Group has been given that project that, they can start working in West Container Terminal. However, Japan was not given that opportunity. So now Japan and India are together thinking of, let's say, restarting their trilateral cooperation in Sri Lanka. And Japan says, we will think of restarting only if Sri Lanka treats all its creditors equally. Means, it does not give more weight to, let's say, China or any other country. I mean, they should treat all creditors equally. Only then, we are thinking of restarting our halted project in Sri Lanka. So this is what in this article is said, okay, is mentioned. So you can go through this article in your free time, you will understand this, right? So this is related to trilateral economic cooperation. Then we have this is a good news for all of us, okay. So it's related to, let's say, science and technology, it's related to economy. So we are going to understand this topic. So this topic is related to UPI payment. Soon AI means artificial intelligence, will allow you to make a UPI payment using voice, okay. So the title itself says a lot. So using voice commands, we will be able to make payment to people, right? So the government of India and the Reserve Bank of India, basically, they are integrating the UPI payment system, right? They are integrating it with the artificial intelligence. And after then, we will be able to communicate with that particular application. We'll be able to give command that, we want to send this much amount of money to this person, okay. So this is related to this. So this is conversational payment. It is known as, conversational payment. So we will be able to make payment, right? We will be able to make payment through conversation, through UPI. So related to that, it is mentioned, so they have mentioned many things that, the AI powered system will initiate and complete transaction in a safe and secure environment. So this is digital payment, online payment. Apart from this, the Reserve Bank of India has taken another initiative for offline payment, okay, for offline payment. So how offline payment will happen through UPI? For UPI, they need some kind of, let's say, what we say, internet. But we know that, earlier, we used to have mobile phones. Let's say you have a mobile phone, I have a mobile phone. If we want to transfer some songs from one device to another, we used to enable Bluetooth, right? So that was a near field technology, right? So we used to enable Bluetooth, and here, no internet connection was required. Only through Bluetooth, we used to transfer, let's say, some files or, let's say, some song from one person to another. Similarly, RBI is working towards enabling offline payment through near field technology, okay. So what technology? They will be using near field technology, okay, which is in short known as NFT, okay. No, NFT not in that thing. So it is using near field technology, okay. RBI will allow people to do offline payment. If you do not have internet connection, still you can go and scan and make the payment to the other party, okay. So that will be using near field technology, okay. So this is what is mentioned in this article, okay. So you can go through it. So this is a good news. I mean, once it becomes a reality for all of us will be using this particular thing, right? The near field technology also, and also will be using the voice command. You might be knowing, if you go to any shop, right, and there if you want to make UPI payment, maybe internet comes very slow there, right, internet is low. So you come out of the shop, right, after scanning the QR to see that whether the payment is made. And once that near field thing is done, So that thing will also be like, taken care of, because like we'll be able to make payment even without internet then. So then we have another topic. This topic is again very, very important. It says MPC holds rates lift financial year 24 inflation forecast to 5.4%, retains growth view. Okay. So MPC stands for Monetary Policy Committee. This Monetary Policy Committee is let's say like is of the Reserve Bank of India. So recently the Monetary Policy Committee of the Reserve Bank of India has taken a decision, right, related to inflation, related to growth forecast. Okay. So the Monetary Policy Committee of Reserve Bank of India has forecasted that India is going to grow at 6.5% of its GDP, right, for 2024, for financial year 2024. And also whatever was the repo rate, reverse repo rate, everything they have kept it as it is. Why they have kept it as it is? Because like still in the world economy there is lot of uncertainty about what's going to happen, how it's going to happen. They wanted to keep it as it is because they want the situation to get stabilized. So RBI's Monetary Policy Committee leaves policy interest rate unchanged for a third straight meeting. Okay. So majority of 5 MPC members. So like in Monetary Policy Committee there are 6 members. And 5 members have voted in favor of keeping the repo rate, reverse repo rate, same as before. So MPC Monetary Policy Committee retains its projection for real GDP growth in 2023-24 at 6.5%. And RBI says that with effect from fortnight August 12, banks maintain incremental cash reserve ratio of 10%. So they have cash reserve ratio means it is the amount that the banks receive from the customers, right? Bank receives from the customer, that these banks have to keep with the Reserve Bank of India. Let's say like there is a bank A. This bank receives money from its customers as let's say demand and time deposit, let's say through savings and current account. So whatever money it receives, they have to keep, right, some portion of it with the Reserve Bank of India. Okay, with the Reserve Bank of India. Earlier this was 4%. So 4% of the total deposits that the banks receive, they have to keep it with Reserve Bank of India. And on this money, okay, this is 4%, it is not 41, it is 4%. And on this money, these banks do not receive any interest from RBI. Now RBI has said that these banks have to keep incremental 10% CRR with RBI, okay, with Reserve Bank of India. This is known as cash reserve ratio, okay, cash reserve ratio. So this is the decision that was taken by the Reserve Bank of India. This topic is again important from the economy point of view, okay, economy. Then we have, let's say, some questions for you. This question is for prelims exam. We are going to solve this question. It says, consider the following statements about Monetary Policy Committee, MPC of the Reserve Bank of India. So they have given multiple statements. First statement says, the Monetary Policy Committee is responsible for fixing the benchmark interest rate in India. Benchmark interest rate means cash reserve ratio. Sorry, this is let's say like lending rate that the Reserve Bank of India lends to different banks, repo rate, reverse repo rate, this is the thing. And the governor of the Reserve Bank of India is ex officio chairperson of the committee. Okay. So third, the Reserve Bank of India Act 1934 was amended by Finance Act 2016 to constitute Monetary Policy Committee. So now you need to understand which of the above statements are true about the Monetary Policy Committee. Okay, so like we have given like answer all of the above statements. All the 3 statements are correct in this regard, right? You can go through it, right? We have also included solution to it, and we have also talked about instruments of monetary policy. What are the instruments that they, let's say, tweak? So in Monetary Policy Committee decisions, they can change the repo rate, they can change reverse repo rate, they can change the liquidity adjustment facility, marginal standing facility, then there is bank rate also, they can change it, cash reserve ratio, statutory liquidity ratio, They can also take decisions related to open market operations, and they can take decisions related to market stabilization scheme. So these are the things that are looked after by the Monetary Policy Committee of the Reserve Bank of India. Now we have another topic. It says Northeast SEZs yet to start operations. SEZs stand for Special Economic Zones. Okay, SEZ stands for Special Economic Zones. So what are special economic zones? We need to understand this concept first. Special economic zones, let's say there is a state, let's say it is the state of UP, Uttar Pradesh, right? State of UP. So in the state of UP, let's say anywhere, wherever companies are located, wherever manufacturing activities are happening. So they have a law which is in place where the taxation related matters. So they will be applying some tax, they will be applying some other charges, the government will be applying on businesses. However, if it has created, let's say, special economic zone, SEZ, right? So there can be multiple special economic zones in the same state, right? I'm just giving an example. So inside the special economic zone, so this will be a territorial area where the businesses who are making, let's say, components for exporting to other countries, okay? So these businesses will be given, let's say, tax rebates, okay? So here the taxation laws will be different, okay? Taxation laws will be different. I mean, there will be, let's say, rebates on taxation, there will be lesser charges on electricity consumption. So a lot of benefits are given to these businesses, okay? Why? So that they can produce the goods at a very lower input cost, okay? So that they can sell these goods in international market through let's say like export import business. So they'll be exporting these things. So special economic zones are made by states, right, by the government, right, for promoting the export activities in the country, so that we can do more export related things. So it says, this article says Northeast SEZs yet to start operations. So in northeastern India, we have 7 states. So they have created the special economic zones over there. However, they have not yet started working, okay? So this is the thing. So you need to go through it in detail to understand about it. So here in this article, they have mentioned about, let's say, like SEZ for Manipur, for Sikkim, right? So in northeastern India, like that. Now with this, we'll move to the next topic. This topic is again very, very important. It says Indian GPS Navi to be linked to Aadhaar enrollment devices, okay? So as of now, what GPS we are using? We are using global positioning system. This global positioning system is of United States of America. We are using this system to locate, right, to locate different places, to locate on Google Map, right, to locate on Google Map, right, various places. So we use it on a daily basis. If you are going from one place to another, you generally start the GPS system to see which route you have to follow and all. So the global positioning system that we are using, it is of United States of America. However, the government of India has recently started, right, its own project, which is, let's say, Indian GPS. We can say Indian GPS, Indian Global Positioning System. This Indian GPS is given a name of NAVIC, okay? It is given a name of NAVIC. So what is the full form of NAVIC? It is known as Navigation with Indian Constellation, okay? NAVIC means Navigation with Indian Constellation, okay? Navigation with Indian Constellation, okay? Navigation with Indian Constellation, NAVIC. So this NAVIC system has 7 satellites, okay? All these 7 satellites are made by Indian Space Research Organization, okay? By ISRO. So now what is the news about it? That Indian GPS NAVIC will be linked with the Aadhaar enrollment devices. As of now, with Aadhaar enrollment devices, the American or US's GPS is connected, but it is soon the government is going to connect, right? So they are going to connect the Indian NAVIC thing with it, because we want to allow our citizens, right, our citizens to use the Navik system for their day-to-day activities. Then this topic is again important. It says bill seeks to remove CJI from a panel that picks CEC and EC. CEC means Chief Election Commissioner, EC means Election Commissioner. So recently, I mean, like Supreme Court of India, a constitutional judge of the Supreme Court of constitutional bench of the Supreme Court of India has decided that, like, for the selection of Chief Election Commissioners or Election Commissioners, right, there should be a panel of 3 members. Okay, there should be a 3-member panel. One of them will be the Prime Minister of India. The other will be leader of opposition. Okay, opposition party LOP, then one will be Chief Justice of India. So this was decided, right? This was decided by a constitutional bench of the Supreme Court of India. But now one of the minister of BJP, right? So they have come up with a bill in the parliament. Okay, they have come up with a bill in the parliament, and this is known. This bill is known as Election Commission's Appointment. Like Conditions of Service and Term of Office Bill 2023. So under this bill, right, once this bill gets passed, so according to this bill, the member to select the Chief Election Commissioners, okay, to select the Chief Election Chief Election Commissioner and Election Commissioners, right, will be the Prime Minister of India, and the other person will be leader of opposition party. Then there will be a cabinet minister. There will be a let's say, like, there will be a cabinet minister from. So there will be a minister, right, from the parliament. So like that. Let's say I am writing cabinet minister. It's not CM. Okay. There will be another minister. So this is being, let's say, like, opposed by many parties, because they are saying that, like, it will constitute 2 members from the ruling party itself, and there will be 1 opposition member. And if there is no opposition, in that case, in this bill they have mentioned that if there is not no leader of opposition, in that case the leader of the largest opposition, let's say, party, right, will be considered as leader of opposition. Okay, so this bill has been moved. However, let's say, like, it is like we need to see how this bill, whether this bill gets passed in the parliament or not, and like, what happens, like whether the judiciary is going to take a decision on this, like whether cases will be filed in the court or not. So we have 3 statements in this question. This is a question for prelims exam. Consider the following statements about Election Commission of India. It says the Election Commission shall consist of Chief Election Commissioner and such number of other election commissioners, if any, as the President may from time to time fix. Second, the Chief Election Commissioner and the 2 other election commissioners have equal powers. Third, the Election Commission has been given powers to determine the territorial areas of electoral constituencies. So we need to identify which of these statements are correct, right? We need to identify. So in your free time, you can solve this question. So as of now, all the 3 statements in this question are correct. Okay, all the 3 are correct, right? So you can go through the solution explanation of this. So that's all from my side for the day. Thank you so much everyone for attending today's session. I hope you have a good day ahead. Thank you.